When you see a homeless encampment, it likely makes you uncomfortable because seeing human suffering is uncomfortable. But when you see that the encampment's been cleared, that suddenly it's gone and the place is clean, what do you feel then? Probably a lot of people feel relief. But what I want you to know is that the people who were displaced from that encampment are now likely to be homeless for longer, are at a very high risk of overdose, of needing hospitalization. In fact, their risk of death increases substantially directly following that street sweep. So the mess may be gone, but know that there has been a huge cost. I'm Dr. Jill, and I'm a street doctor. My mind is filled with faces and stories of people who have been harmed by street sweeps. A young father with an amputation of his lower leg due to frostbite after all his winter gear was thrown away. A woman who was brutally assaulted when she no longer had the protection of the people in her encampment. The patients of mine who have died of overdoses right after a clearing because they no longer had the watchful eyes of their friends around to respond. And I can't even count the times a patient has come to me in a mental health crisis, distraught over a street sweep. Having all your possessions thrown away and being told to move somewhere else when you have nowhere else to go is very traumatizing. Encampments often form to provide community for people, to share resources, to help keep each other safe. And this is all lost when an encampment is cleared. Street sweeps also result in people losing connections with the medical and social outreach teams that were supporting them and helping them get out of homelessness. Some people move to more isolated settings further away from those supports to avoid more displacements. Listen, witnessing human suffering at this level is hard, and to help cope, we sometimes fall to judgment. If it's their fault, we don't need to muster compassion. And sometimes we demand action for the mess instead of demanding help for the humans. So my challenge to you is, look past the mess to the people who are struggling to survive. And look inside yourself to find a place that says, this is not okay. And the next time you see an encampment being cleared, know that someone may very well die due to this action. Some people will continue to demand street sweeps, and until we can find a way to soften their hearts, we just need to be louder. Politicians listen to loud voices. We need to demand that they stop causing harm and start redirecting their efforts and resources to real solutions. And I'd like to leave you with this. Indigenous people are highly overrepresented in the homeless population in Canada. And in Victoria, BC, where I live and work, when an Indigenous person's encampment is cleared, they are being forcibly removed from their own traditional and unceded territories. Our City Council is probably missing the hypocrisy in starting their meetings with a land acknowledgement. People struggling with homelessness are incredibly strong. They have no other choice. Learn more about them by checking out my collaborators page. Jody Patterson tells everyday stories about remarkable people living on our streets. Bye for now.